Hello, great people. Have you ever desired, wish, or hope for a corrupt-free Nigeria? Well, candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, has put on the garment of an anti-corruption crusader and is advocating for stricter penalty for corruption. In fact, Peter Obi is advocating for the China model. In a moment, I'll leave you to watch the video of where he made the disclosure while having a chit-chat with Bashorun Dele Momodu, who just marked his birthday. Then when we come back from watching the video, we'll be dissecting what is the Chinese model. Is the Chinese model achievable in Nigeria? What are the judicial hindrances, the legal hindrances, the legislative hindrances that can occur in that regard? And is this Chinese model, is it achievable for Mr. Peter Obi? And who can be affected if this Chinese model is implemented? Will this statement have any political implications on the political machinery of Mr. Peter Obi in 2027? We'll be looking at all these and a whole lot more on this episode with your sure plug, Dr. Omosoladeji. First, let us go and watch the video of Mr. Peter Obi, then we'll come back for some great discussion. Let's watch it.
Africa has no reason to be wondering. All we need to do is do the right, and all these things are being affected by corruption. Because people no longer find value in hard work, in productivity, in entrepreneurship. You started your own business. You are working hard to earn a living. Today, people who have no daytime job live better than you live. People who have no office live like stars. So it is a crisis. So we must deal with the issue of corruption aggressively, when the Chinese people are doing. Make sure that the amount you steal is death sentence. The amount you steal is life imprisonment. The amount you steal is not less than 10 years imprisonment. So when you deal with it strictly, then you start investing in critical area of development which you can achieve organically by ensuring that those who we elect, one, are competent, two, have the capacity. Because you can be competent, but you have passed the age where you have the capacity to work. You must have the capacity to be able to move around and do the right thing. Three, have the compassion. And leadership without compassion is not a leader. Is someone who feels that, listen, we have to do things to the people. Citizens-led leadership. You must to be firm and thinking about the people. Anything short of that, you will see that. And all these things come with character, with this and everything. So it's critical thing we want to.
There you have it. You just watch the video of Mr. Peter Obi where he's advocating the Chinese model for curbing corruption in Nigeria. Before I tell you what the Chinese model is, let me first of all tell you my observation of that video and of Nigerian politicians at large. You see, Nigerian politicians are always at their best when they are in the opposition, when they are hunting for that power. They seem to be a kind of like epitome of ideas. They come up with great ideas, great solutions, great perspective. They seem to be very resourceful. But then immediately they get to power, you will imagine that where is all this brain? Where is all these ideas that this person has always put forward? And I'll give you an example in that regard. The president, current president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he was in the opposition, he seemed to have these great ideas. You know, he came up with the idea of state police to tackle insecurity, and he kind of like branded it in a very good way, and he sold that idea. Now he's the president. State police is yet to see the light of the day, and that state police may not see the light of the day. And I've given you the analysis in my past videos, and when issues relating to that come up, I'll still give you some fresh perspective in that regard. It is the same President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that came up with the word, let the poor breathe. Don't suffocate them. And ever since he became president, the poor has been suffocating, the poor has been dying, they have been languishing in anguish. The renewed hope that he promised has largely turned to hopelessness for the poor people that truly need that hope. So you can see that in Nigeria, there seems to be something about Nigerian politicians, which is that when they are yet to have the power, they seem to have these great ideas. And I just hope that at the end of the day, if God says Mr. Peter Obi and Nigeria says he will be president, then I hope when he becomes the president, he will still kind of like be bringing about, he will bring to reality. This is lofty ideas. You know the word consumption to production. Now he's talking about the Chinese model for corruption. I hope he won't deviate. Just as Bola Ahmed Tinubu had deviated, just as Muhammadu Buhari promised change, but when he got to power, he changed the promise. I hope that Mr. Peter Obi will not deviate. Now, let us go to the Chinese model. What is the Chinese model for tackling corruption? The Chinese model is, if you are caught stealing, if you are caught in corrupt practices, that is the end of your time on earth. That is the Chinese model. If they ever caught you, maybe you are, especially if you are a public official, and you dip your hand into the public treasury, you siphon money, you corner some money for yourself, or you decide to leak the icing on the national cake, definitely that is the end of your life. So that is the Chinese model. And if you look at it, does Nigeria deserve the Chinese model? Of course. Nigeria truly deserves the Chinese model, because everywhere you go, anywhere you turn in Nigeria, you see corruption, barefaced corruption. In fact, if you are driving on the road, you see policemen receiving bribes in the full glare of the public. So you can see that which country needs the Chinese model, if not Nigeria. So kudos to Mr. Peter Obi for finding a proper solution to the corruption problem in Nigeria. But then, here is the problem. The problem is that if Mr. Peter Obi's Chinese model is adopted in Nigeria, definitely 96% of Nigerian adults are just going to die. The reason is that 96%, why I say so, is it will include pastors, sultan, bishop, politicians, security agencies, head of organizations, NGOs, judiciary, educational system, pastors, imam, just name it, because corruption is present in every layer and strata of our society, even lecturers, professors. So if this Peter Obi's model is made a reality, will 96% of Nigeria not be a dead human being, in the sense that corruption is everywhere you go in Nigeria. But if you look at it well, do we need this model? Yes, we do, because corruption has become a culture in Nigeria. What is culture? Culture is a way of life. Corruption in Nigeria has become a way of life, in the sense that anything you do, you have already prepared for the corruption. If you see a policeman and you know that your papers are incomplete, you have already prepared your mind to part away with some money. If you are going to a government agency and you want to do anything and you want to fast track it or something, you would have already prepared your mind for what you are going to use as a tip. And if you enter a restaurant and you are driving out, and you used to come to the restaurant every day, and you don't tip the security guy at the restaurant, if the security guy sees you the next day, he may not even give you so much attention. Everywhere you go, corruption. Even if your mechanic want to fix your car, he will inflate the price, he will add his own. So if you look at the corruption, whether we like it or not, has become a way of life, has become a culture in every layer of Nigeria. And that's why this Chinese model is dangerous. Else we are just going to lose majority of our citizens, except Mr. Peter Obi decide to start, if he becomes president, if he ever becomes president in Nigeria, if he decides to start with the politicians. If he starts with the politician, then definitely we can now expand it to the religious sector, the educational sector, the health sector. Then we can now make it a national phenomenon. So should Nigeria adopt the Chinese model? Of course, yes. Nigeria is ripe for the Chinese. In fact, no nation needs that Chinese model currently other than Nigeria. But then, even if Mr. Peter Obi, if he becomes the president and he wants to implement this model, it's not going to come that easy, because there are two hindrances. The first one is judicial. The second one is the legislature, in the sense that the judicial, instead, you cannot just go and hang someone to death, except there is a judgment. And with the judiciary we have today, with profound respect to my Lord Justices, the probability of their dispensing the justice, in fact, the judiciary is not even immune of the corruption that you want to fight. So if you start with the judiciary, maybe we have just 2 or 3 judges left in Nigeria. So the judiciary, if they see that somebody is allegedly corrupt and they decide that this person is not corrupt and judgment comes in the favor of that person, there's nothing you can do. If the judiciary decide to foot drag the case for like 10 to 15 years, there's nothing you can do. You need to exhaust all the appeal process. For instance, the case of Rivers State, it is going to about over 2 months now that the state of emergency has been declared, just for the Nigerian Supreme Court to interpret, is the president right or wrong? You don't need evidence. It is just interpret the constitution. Does the president have power to sack a sitting governor and the state legislature? The Supreme Court has not find it necessary to give a judgment on that particular case. So imagine you now adopt the Chinese model. These are some of the obstacles that you would be facing. The second one is the legislature, with men like Godswill Akpabio and other principal officers in the Nigerian Senate. Don't forget that most of them, they are quite strong in their territory, in their constituency. Is it these people that will comprise the members of the National Assembly, both Senate and House of Rep, and you want to adopt the Chinese model? Who will pass that bill? Is it the legislature that is ridden with corruption, both in the Senate and the House of Representatives, that you would think that they will pass this bill for you? So two obstacles: the judicial one and the legislative one. Because definitely, is it not these politicians that are cross-carpeting? How do you want to treat people that have turned to political investors, the likes of Jason Wike? Is it not in that same political system that you want to adopt this Chinese model? So you can see that it is a lofty dream. It is the solution to Nigeria's problem, but is it achievable? Now it is more of maybe not than maybe, based on all these hindrances that we are seeing. And another thing, on a final note, is with this kind of lofty idea, will Nigerian politicians even ever support Mr. Peter Obi to be the president? Nigerians are rejoicing. This solution, the Chinese model, resonates with Nigerians, but then does it resonate with the politicians? And you need the support of the politicians. They will be the one to be your party agent. Some of them will be involved in all this electioneering campaign and all that. So if they know that they are going to die, will they ever support you? And that's why some people are saying that Mr. Peter Obi should have kept this idea. Then whenever he becomes president, if God permits, then he can bring forward the idea, and that would have been better. But for him to have announced it now, then Nigerian politicians may not want to support him, thinking that this is the highway to death. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode. Subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past video. See you in my next video. I love you all sincerely.